chasing me and you. All these years of inspiration and love. Oh, how we live and what we say. It's Stampin' Up and it's our way.
Hey everyone, it's Pauline from Stamp with Pauline, and today I am going to be doing a tutorial using the Layers of Beauty decorative masks. So I've got the coordinating stamp set as well, and I'm going to show you a couple of samples doing that as well. You need to stamp this image in your Memento ink pad first. So let's do one of those. And then we've got the masks as well. I've actually gone and got my Dymo labeler and put the numbers on here, and that's just due to my eyesight being a little bit skewy in this light as well, and I have just numbered them again so I can see that a little easier. When you're using this, you'll also want to have your sponge, your chamois close by, or some baby wipes as well, and I've also got my bucket of blending brushes as well to be using some of the colours. So to get started, what you want to do is put your stamp on the largest block that we have. Now there's a couple of different ways you can actually do this, and I'm just going to move the camera just ever so slightly so you can actually see a bit more there. All right. There's a couple of different ways you can do it. You can grab your pencil, you can mark your cardstock, you can mark where you're positioning it on your drop sheet, all sorts of things, okay? There's things you can use to tape down your masks to make sure they don't move. Just a little tip with the mask though is there is some flimsy little pieces like this. Not sure if you can see that. And you do want to be careful when you're rubbing with your blending brush and make sure that you don't bend or fold or crease any of those, because then you won't get that crisp sort of pattern that you're going to need on there. So what you want to do is, I'm just trying to work out if I'm actually upside down or not. All right, so the first thing I did with this, let me just secure my drop sheet under my stand like that, just so that it gets that out of the way. All right, what I did when I first started playing with this week is got my Memento ink pad and I'm stamping over this. Now I find this, because it is a really big ink pad, big stamp, sorry, I'm using it up this way because I found it a little easier than trying to turn it and manipulate it. So pop your basic white cardstock down here. Just be careful not to move it. You want to run your hands over the back, and then you lift up and you have your image on there. Okay, so that's the first thing we need to do. The second thing, what I found when I started mucking around with this, I did a couple of different ways. So I put it down, I got my pencil, I marked where I needed to go. So you start with number 1 and you line up your roses. Now, if your eyesight or your lighting is not great in your room, I did find it a little easier to manipulate and twirl this around till I found where all of my roses lined up. Now I was doing a bulk lot of this, so I was actually stamping a whole bunch and they were all turning out in a different location, which was fine. You want to just make sure you've got your daisies lined up and then your roses and some more daisies. And I found this 3 little stem flower was really handy to manipulate those into the section, so that way you can keep an eye on where you sort of need to go. So you can line that up. The next thing you can do is mark all of your corners and make sure everything's lined up. This will be probably a good way to do it if I was just doing the same image in the same pattern. But when I show you the samples, I had rotated it a little bit and got them in a different way. So it didn't work when I was doing multiple images as such. Then what you do is you take your blending brush, and this one I'm going to make into, let's go, what colour haven't I done? I might do an orange this time. So I'm going to use pumpkin pie, and I might even go I might go peach pie as my light colour underneath. So I'm going to grab my peach pie ink pad, and then I'm going to take my peach pie blending brush and holding everything down. The main thing what you want to do is actually hold your cardstock down, and you could use some washi tape if you wanted to, but I didn't do that the other day. I literally just held all of my pieces onto my cardstock. And then now you've got a couple of different options. You can dab off and get a bulk lot off your image. And then I'm going to show you, if you don't dab off, you just get a little bit of a darker rose on that side there. Now you can do the daisies in the same yellow as well if you want. I'm not going to on this one. So a quick easy way is to get all of that done and dusted, and where you can just quickly do it over. Now with the second stencil lining up, you'll actually have a few little points to anchor this to. So again, I'm trying just to line up those 3 little stems in there, and then to make sure the top is positioned and my daisies are positioned. So once I have all of those lines ready to go, pop that down. So you'll see you'll anchor a few different points on here, and then what we're going to do is come in with our pumpkin pie, and I'm just going in a swirly sort of motion, just as gentle as I can, because again I don't want to damage the mask, so you don't have to be super rough with any of that. And that is my roses. They are done. To do the daisies, I'm actually going to be pulling in some Daffodil Delight. So I'm going to just change my blending brush over to my Daffodil Delight, and number 3 stencil is another layer of the rose, and I'm not going to do that on this one. You can if you want to add another darker layer on top of it. So there's nothing that you have to do on that, but I'm going to bring back in stencil number 1, and I'm going to line up my 3 dots and lining up, so these 3 little buds here and the daisies. Lay that down, and then I'm going to come in with the yellow and do those, and then just tap some yellow onto here, get my daisies done. And once I've done that, you'll see now I have my roses and my daisies in different colours. Then to do the leaves, and I'm going to be using Old Olive and Shaded Spruce. And again, you don't need to do both the layers. You actually can get away with doing one of the layers if you don't want to do all of them. So going to find an anchor point, which is these little leaves up here, and again this little stem here, and I've covered over the roses, and my daisies are all covered up. So I've got my leaves here, and I'm just manipulating that just to cover. Yep, we're in the right spot. Pop that down, grab hold of my Old Olive and my Old Olive blending brush. So I've got my ink and my blending brush, Just pop that there, holding on to all of the layers, dab off and come in and just gentle swirls. Round we go. All right. I have also done on a sample that I'm going to show you is one that I just did the leaves actually first, and I quite liked the idea of doing 4 and 5 first, because I did find it actually a little easier once those leaves were in place. I did think it was a little easier to have everything already lined up. You could already see where my colour was to sort of go. So once I line up my, just twist that, there we go. And now I'm going to grab my shaded spruce and holding my cardstock as well. And I'm not dabbing off too much because I want to have a little depth on them. I don't want all of the colour. I want that light and dark sort of combination to give it that effect. And that is as simple as it gets. The dies will actually cut out the whole of the image, and there's also a die that cuts out the rose as well. So the stamp set also has some additional images, and the die set also has some extra leaves and things you can add to that, and I'll be showing cards like that. So let me pop my ink pad away, and I'm going to show you some other samples that I've done. Now, a little tip that you want to be aware of is when you do the leaves, you need to make sure, and I've got a little ink spot just here where I've just gone off the stencil. So you do need to be aware of that. If I was not going to be cutting this out, that's going to obviously be a bit of an issue, but I am going to be cutting this out and with the dies. If I wasn't going to be cutting it out, obviously that's where my sentiment goes, or some ribbon or something like that, so don't throw it away. There's lots of other uses. With this one here, I've used the 3 layers on there. So I have used a combination of the bubble bath, I've got the fresh freesia, and then on the top part of here I've used the melon mambo. So different way of doing that. Then this one here is using, this one is Pool Party, and I have also used Misty Moonlight as the 2 layers, and not a third on that one. So you can see the difference between having 2 and 3 there. This one is Flirty Flamingo. Sorry, no, that's Bubble Bath. No, not Bubble Bath. Fresh Freesia and Moody Mauve, that one. So different combination there with that one. And this one here, I actually did the leaves first, followed by the roses. So again, I've just coloured in, you can see there the daisies are a different colour, the other flowers are the same. So there's lots of ways that you can mix and match and make them up in different colours. And this one is Daffodil Delight and Crushed Curry. So, and now you'll see here a little splodgy bit there. That is because the stencil buckled up, so that was my first attempt. So you want to just watch that when you're doing this. And I've used a combination of different greens. Okay, so I have used Old Olive, I've used Garden Green, I've used Shaded Spruce. Mossy Meadow would be another really good one to bring into this as well. So lots of different options for you to mix and match using this really simple, quick, easy layers of beauty. So get your hands on that one and have some fun. All right, I'll see you next time. Bye.